which is fairly easy. But to be able to see the same thing together, to hear the same meaning, the significance, the depth of a word, to hear the same song, not interpreted according to your like and dislike, but to hear it together. Because I think it's very important to be able to think together. Not as a group having the same thought, the same point of view, the same outlook, but having set aside one's own particular idiosyncrasies, habits of thought, come together in thought. Say, for instance, we can think together about belief. We can argue for it or against it. We can see how important belief is to have some kind of psychological security. And being desirous of that security, we will believe in anything. This is happening in the world. Believe in the most ridiculous nonsense, both economically, religiously, and in every way. So we can think about a belief together, agreeing or disagreeing. But we're trying something else, which is not thinking about something, but thinking itself together. I wonder if I'm making myself clear. No people apparently, no two people apparently are capable of thinking together unless there is some catastrophe, unless there is some great sorrow, a crisis. Then people come together and think together about a war and so on. It is always thinking together about something, right? But we are trying something which is to think together, which is only possible if we, for the moment, forget ourselves, our own problems, our own inclinations, our intellectual capacities, and so on, and meet each other. That requires a certain sense of attention, a certain sense of awareness. That each one of us are together in the quality of thinking. I don't know how to express it more than that. Could we do that? About all our problems. We can think together about our problems. But to have the capacity to think at the same level, with the same intensity, not about something, but the feeling of thinking together. I wonder. If we could do that, we can go together into many things. That means a certain quality of freedom, a certain sense of detachment, not forced, compelled, driven, but the freedom from our own backyard, and then meet together. Because it becomes very important, when we want to create a good society. The philosophers have talked about it. Ancient Greeks, the ancient Hindus, and the Chinese have talked about bringing about a good society. That is, in the future. Sometime in the future, we will create a good society according to an ideal, a pattern, a certain sense of ideals, and so on. And apparently, throughout the world, a good society has never come into being. Now, good people, maybe, it's becoming more and more difficult to be good in this world. And we're always looking to the future to bring about this good society. Good in the sense where people can live on this earth without wars, peacefully, without slaughtering each other, without competition, in a sense of great freedom, and so on. We're not defining what is good for the moment. Definition of the good doesn't make one good. So can we together think the absolute need of a good society? The society is what we are. Society doesn't come into being mysteriously. It's not created by God. Man has created this society with all the wars and all that's going on. We don't have to go into all the horrible details of it. And that society is what we are. What each human being is. That's fairly obvious. That is, we create this society with all its divisions, with its conflicts, with its terror, with its inequality, and so on, so on, so on. Because in ourselves we are that. Which is in our relationship with each other, we are that. We may be fairly tolerant, very affectionate in private relationship. Even that's rather doubtful. But with regard to the rest of the human beings, we are not. Which is again fairly obvious when you read the newspapers, magazines, and actually see what's going on. So, good society can only come into being, not in the future, but now, when we human beings have established right relationship between ourselves.